He's here. Carmen's here too. Okay, great. On that one, we can switch it to gallery view, which might be, yeah. That might be easier for you all.
That better?
Sure.
It's a broad gallery over here.
If you turn off a couple more, I'll take a nap.
That'd be even better. John, it says broad gallery.
Oh yeah, we are. We're good. It's blocking non-video participants, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'll put them on too.
Mask. I was following the rules. My partner does not have one. Is she okay? I left her outside.
We've been going by the CDC guidelines.
She's
So-
vaccinated.
Okay, yep. If you're
Awesome. I
vaccinated.
saw the sign. I was like, oh,
Thanks
man,
for
I'm the
asking.
one with one.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Cool. Sorry, guys.
like
Maybe
deja
for
vu.
now, we just move the podium.
I think that'd be fine.
Okay. If you want, we can have you sit up here so you're in the.
We don't have a resolution number for this.
No,
No.
so, I talked with Carmen a little bit, and for right now, we're going to try to do something a little different.
Okay.
So, if there's a positive recommendation, we'll come back with a quick resolution. If there's a, negative recommendation, then the resolution would be needed. So,
Okay.
or determination, I should say, not recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's,
I just didn't know. I saw that, so I'm just bringing it.
Did you guys meet John?
We did.
Okay, good. Did you introduce yourself, John?
I'm Andy Marsh. I'm the city administrator. Andy, John Hatch. Meet you.
Welcome.
Yeah, good to be here.
Thanks for joining the board.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Did Jerry Herbert ever send you a request?
No. Are you gonna hit him over the head and drag him in here?
I might have to. Well, his last comment was, I think I did that. No, I don't think you did. I'll check. He has to go through city council.
Then he would have to attend every meeting.
He's pretty good about that.
is Drew coming?
Let's hope so. Like I said, everybody be prompt.
Carmen, can you hear us?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Awesome.
That's
Should we wait for Drew till
I'd say
5:50?
5 minutes,
Okay.
and 2 of them very fast. I've got 5:35.
All right, we started. All right, this is the July 16th, 2021 regular meeting of the Idaho Springs Variance Board of Adjustments.
June 16th.
What did I say, July? June 16th. Can I get a roll call?
Doug Smith.
Here.
Ann Zimmerman. Here. Drew Van Doren. John Hatch.
Here. All right, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the May 19th, 2021 meeting?
I move to approve the minutes from May 19th.
Do we need another roll call for that?
No, but we'll need you to second it.
Second.
Voice vote or a roll call.
Roll call.
Doug Smith.
Approved.
Ann Zimmerman.
Approve.
John Hatch.
Approved.
Do we have any new business tonight? Other than the parents?
None besides the request.
So there's one public hearing to be held tonight. The variance is proposed parking expansion at 1047 Minor Street. The variance requested is to allow gravel parking where the city requirement is a paved surface. With that, open the hearing at 5:35 p.m.
All right, thank you very much. Before you this evening is a variance request for 1047 Minor Street. The request is to allow for a gravel surface to be utilized as the parking area for a new business. So the current status of the property is that it is a home on a C2 commercially zoned property. So a business is allowed within that property, and the petitioner is inquiring or is requesting to utilize the back portion of the property as parking with a gravel surface. So the code per section 21-126 states that all parking areas shall be surfaced with asphalt or concrete. So the crux of the item is that this property is has a new business on the site, and that's really what triggered the requirement for the parking area to be asphalt or concrete. The other aspect of it was that the rear of the site was used predominantly as more of a residential backyard. And so the change in that use from a residential backyard to a parking facility is what we're really contemplating here. So I will read through the findings of fact. I believe that is standard for your hearings, and then we'll hear from the petitioner. So findings of fact, all variances have findings of fact or items that are required by state statute to prove hardship. And so I'll read the finding and then we'll go through the staff analysis of that finding. So kind of what staff's opinion is of it. We also have the petitioner's written opinion in the staff report as well. So one, the applicant would suffer hardship as a result of the strict application of these regulations, which hardship is not generally applicable to other lands or structures in the same zone district because of considerations relating to the preservation of historic structures, the unusual configuration of the applicant's property boundaries, or unique circumstances related to existing structures or topographic conditions. Staff analysis. There are other properties within the general vicinity that contain gravel parking areas. However, the area was previously fenced and utilized as a backyard for residential dwelling units. The change of use for the site requires improvements to comply with the zoning ordinance. If other locations in the vicinity were to change use as allowed within the current zoning, those properties would be required to conform with the zoning ordinance's regulations regarding any proposed improvements. Number two, there are no reasonable design alternatives or alternative locations for structures that would eliminate or reduce the need for the requested variance or decrease the scope or extent of the variance required that do not involve unreasonable expense under the circumstances. Staff analysis. A change in the design of the parking area from gravel to an asphalt or concrete surface would eliminate the need for a variance. Number three, the need for the variance does not result in the intentional, reckless, or negligent actions of the applicant or his or her agent. Violation of any provision of this chapter, this code, or any other code or ordinance adopted and in effect in the city or a previously granted variance. Staff analysis. The need for the variance is a result of intentional choice / preference of the applicant to use gravel instead of the required asphalt or concrete. 4, reasonable protections are afforded adjacent properties. Staff analysis. The proposed variance, if successful, has the potential to affect the neighbors due to the increased potential for dust to be generated on the sites, as for dust and gravel debris to be spread from the sites into adjacent alley and surrounding properties. 5, the variance is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the land or structure. Staff analysis, the variance request does not represent the minimum variance that will allow for reasonable use of the land, as pavers or other solutions that are more closely meet the intention or the intent of the ordinance would have been sought or could have been sought. 6, granting the variance will A, observe the spirit of this chapter. Staff analysis, the proposed variance would not meet the spirit of this chapter, as a variance is meant to be an extraordinary remedy to hardship. It is staff's opinion that the circumstances are not extraordinary in nature. B, secure the public safety and welfare, and staff analysis. The gravel parking space will have little effect on the public safety and welfare of the surrounding properties. C, ensure that substantial justice is done. Staff analysis. If granted, the variance could be cited by other businesses as an example of newly created gravel parking locations that does not meet city ordinance. I wanted to make you aware that I've also received 3 email correspondence in favor of the variance from neighboring properties. So I just wanted to make you aware that they're there. If you want more specifics, please feel free to ask. I will provide those to you. With that, I'd like to turn over the petitioner for their comments.
All right, so we have the applicant.
So
You want to swear?
Yes.
Hold on, you want to swear him in, Diane?
What's your name?
Brandon, then JD should be somewhere too. Is that?
Sorry, yeah, I clicked the raise hand button. I don't know if you guys can hear me. If now's the time for me to talk or not. I have my video shut off because my connection here is not very strong, but if it's okay, I'll just leave it off and go for audio if that's okay.
So who's Jerry Blackwell?
He's the owner of the property.
He's the gentleman on Zoom.
General manager or manager?
Property owner?
Property owner.
We're the business owner. Yeah. Do you want, am I swearing in?
Do you swear the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Jerry, are you going to give comment?
Yes, I am.
You swear the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, so just a couple of things. If is it my turn now?
Go ahead.
Okay, so one about the parking. It was previously set up for parking in the backyard. It wasn't being utilized since I've purchased the property. However, it did have a rolling gate and it did have a paved parking space in the back. That was the primary function of the backyard. Since I've owned the property, there hasn't really been a primary function of the backyard. We've been trying to figure out what we're going to do with it. So that's not going to be a change of use back there. As far as the dust accumulation goes, having the crushed rock pavement that we have there right now is a big improvement over the dirt that was in the back. And I don't foresee any sort of dust issues being a problem for the street or the neighboring property. I've talked to the direct neighbor. That's one of the correspondence that's been received with approval for moving forward and actually excitement for bringing more revenue to the city and having more opportunities in the city. And then I did read through the code just now, and I do see the asphalt and concrete. I had read previously where it had said paved. I'm not sure if that got updated recently or if I had just read an old version of the code, but I had read paved, not asphalt and concrete, although I do see that in there now. And then as far as the situation being extraordinary, I will say like the city does have an extraordinary parking shortage right now. So this is in addition to assist with that. And I'm happy to take any other questions if anybody, on the council has any questions, anything specific that I can answer.
Anyone have any questions for this gentleman?
I was curious, a little better description of what I'm seeing here in gravel, and then you're saying crushed rock, and I'm having a hard time visualizing what it looks like. I mean, there's big stones
Yeah.
thrown out by tires, or is it more of a smash down kind of thing?
I drove by there and it's not a compactable limestone. It's a clear limestone that does not compact. So in my opinion, the gravel's gonna disperse over as the tires go in and out. It's gonna pull the gravel out.
So it is a looser.
It's a loose gravel.
Okay.
And if packing that gravel is, an issue or something we can do, then that's obviously something we can look at. However, we need to pack that to make sure that gravel doesn't move. However, we have driven several Jeeps over that gravel and have not noticed any gravel being picked up. And we're talking about pretty large size tire treads going over that. So no issues there so far.
And yes, I did include a picture. I'm not sure if everybody received it in the packet. There was one there is one concrete parking space previously there, yes. When I referenced the backyard, I should have referenced the rest of the backyard prior to the gravel surface or stone surface being placed.
How many actual parking spaces are we talking here?
Well, there's room for up to 3 vehicles. It's the full backyard.
I'm gonna ask a simple question. How come you can't just pave the backyard?
Well, we have a couple of issues. One, we think that digging down, we just think of the age of the property and the type of soil there. We're just a little bit worried about digging down into it, messing around with the foundation of that home that was built in 1890. And that's our primary reason. And then we also have there's a power line running there. So getting a concrete truck in there, getting some other heavy equipment in the backyard could be an unforeseen issue. And then of course, there's just the financial commitment of having the spaces poured as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not. I don't guess it's my place to sell. The structural integrity of the house, I don't know how that would be affected. I don't know. I didn't see a power line, but just was curious to why. I mean, it's a pretty easy process to get. It does cost a few dollars, but it's a pretty easy process to get paid.
But we also were concerned with the aesthetics of it. We felt like the gravel lends itself more to the mining industry of the town. It's got a nice look. It's throwback to the history of that building. So pouring 3 spaces was just another aspect of the look of the building that we were considering.
More questions for this gentleman? You got any, Joe? Anybody got any? What was your name?
Brandon.
Brandon, you got any questions for Brandon?
Was he gonna?
Do you have any comments?
I'm just gonna be real quick. First off, this is fascinating. I've never seen this done like in real life before, how this all works. I kind of feel bad though, because I feel like we brought y'all out here. So if that, like, yeah, the only reason why I'm here is us. I started in Idaho Springs 20 years ago when I came to school mines and started having classes up there. Stayed with the town. I was on the mine rescue team for 10 years, helped found it up there. And when we looked at where to start the company, Idaho Springs was where to go. And I just thought we were doing the right thing by adding more parking to the town right now with everything that's going on. And I guess we didn't do it right, but I'm hoping that with the craziness, I mean, you're starting to see it this weekend. Last weekend was insane. I felt we were doing the right thing by trying to help out.
So do you actually own the building or do you just rent the building?
Jerry Dean owns the business.
So you're renting the building. You have the business renting the building.
Correct. The back portion of it, yes, correct.
What's the business?
It's a Jeep tour company. We own a fleet of a couple of Jeeps personally, and we take people out up Yankee Hill or Cascade Creek usually and teach people how to drive the Jeep, how to like not be, lack of a better word, like idiots off road. They think they can drive anywhere. Tell them, you gotta stick to the trail and throw trash out. What you wouldn't think you'd have to tell people, but an instructional Jeep and then kind of scenic tours both together. Because of my years up here, I talk a lot about the mining history as well. People seem to really like that.
So is it your Jeeps that are gonna be parked there, or is it the people, or the customers gonna be parking?
So a mix of both. I mean, we move our Jeeps around. They're always broken. So one of them is always down the hill at my shop, which is where we work on them. And then the intent would be more the customer's Jeep or the customer's vehicles would be able to park so they wouldn't have to park in the lots in town. We only really take 2 out at a time. So we're talking about 1 or 2 vehicles that are parked there, and we do a tour or 2 a day. We're not like the Raptors. We don't cycle people through. I mean, we're envious of the Raptors.
Who's gonna have to pay if you pave the lot, you or the owner?
I don't think we've figured that out yet, to be honest. We're also very good friends. And so sometimes that personal and business kind of blurs and becomes handshakes, and I don't know. To be perfectly honest.
I didn't. Go ahead.
Just for the the board members' information and for the record, they have not been issued a business license.
Yeah, that's what's held this up. We thought that would be straightforward. So when we submitted it in May and were denied, we were kind of surprised, but this is the process, so we're working through it.
There's no issues with that building as far as being in the C district, right? C ops.
Correct, yeah, there wasn't any zoning issues cited in the reports.
You know, do y'all have any comments for the staff? Or questions? So I moved to close the hearing at 5:52 p.m. I move to approve or disapprove, whatever.
So I changed the recommended motion, so you were able to fill in whichever you prefer.
So are we still voting on it or no? Or how are we doing it now?
Yeah, I would recommend, I place a recommendation for denial in the reports, and I would request a motion. So you have several different options in that regard. You can make a motion to approve or deny. You can make a motion to approve with conditions, or you can make a motion to continue it to another date.
But if I just make the motion to approve and everybody says no, then it's disapproved. So then what do we do?
No, sorry, Jared, you want to answer that?
Yeah, if you make a motion to approve and everybody votes no, then it would be a denial.
Okay. I don't want to make.
Whoa, time out. No. No. If you
I
make a
didn't think that
motion to
was right.
approve and that motion fails, then you haven't made a decision, board. You haven't moved, and as a group, you haven't exercised a choice to deny. You haven't made a decision at all. So in that event, Mr. Chair and members of the board, if a motion to approve fails, you'd have to make another motion, and we would stay here till midnight or whenever until you can make a motion that that gathers a majority of support.
Okay, I think I got it.
Okay.
All right, so I should make a motion, Carmen, to disapprove or approve. How do you vote?
You, Mr. Chair, actually anybody on the board could make a motion to approve the application. Or alternatively, anybody on the board can make a motion to disapprove the application, but the motion itself should just have one choice in it. And then after that motion gets seconded, you all will vote accordingly. And clearly, if the motion is to disapprove or to deny, if you want to use another word, if that's the motion and you all vote aye or yes, that motion to disapprove it, to deny it would pass if you all voted yes on that. Does that make sense, Chair?
I thought I was clear a minute ago, now I'm not. So do I make a motion to approve or disapprove?
So
It's up to you. Sorry, go ahead, Jared.
kind of depends on.
Can I canvass the board? Can I say, is there a motion to approve or disapprove? How do you vote? And then here, each one say, I disapprove, I approve.
So how you would standardly do it is if you yourself would want to approve it, you would make a motion for approval. If you want to deny it, you would make a motion for denial, and then the vote would go.
So it's up to me to decide.
Whoever makes the
It's up
motion.
to whomever makes the motion.
Okay, so do I hear a motion to disapprove? This
Do you hear a
is,
motion
this is totally different, why we've been doing it the last 3 years, but okay. So, do I hear a motion to approve? So either yes or no, right, Carmen?
Yes, sir. I mean, somebody has to make a motion for y'all to make a decision.
Well, that's what this is not, that's what I'm saying. If I make a motion to approve, somebody's got to second it or got to approve it, right? Or if I make a
Somebody has to-
motion,
Yep, someone has to second it. Yes, sir.
okay. So if I make the motion to approve and nobody seconds it, then I'm kind of thinking that I should make a motion to disapprove and then somebody seconds it. This is kind of convoluted, but okay. I'm a little off.
Sorry, sir. I can try to help. You called for motions on both sides though, and we didn't hear any from.
But I don't know.
Okay, we're kind of trying to figure out how it works.
We can go outside.
Yeah, give us a second.
Talk about it.
Yeah, so how do y'all want to do this?
What do you think? Should, I don't know, you looked at the property, I didn't see it.
I mean,
That too.
are we allowed to talk amongst ourselves, Carl?
Oh, you bet, Mr. Chair. And this is absolutely a great for you. I think you were expressing, you wanted to sort of feel out what your fellow board members think, and this is absolutely appropriate. Talk open and freely, and it could be awkward when the applicant's there, but that's what this is all about, is you getting your feelings out to each other. And then at some point, someone will feel comfortable to make a motion. This is all great.
Okay, so in my personal opinion, it's not a big parking lot. I mean, it could be paid very easily. To me, it's a financial cost. All the other stuff, I don't see that, but I think it's more of a financial issue for a new business and trying to get started up and try to do whatever they can do to get started, but that's my opinion. I do think the gravel will be an issue. I mean, it always, especially when your gravel hits paved, because if gravel's on gravel, then it kind of goes away, but when gravel hits paved areas like
The street.
11th Street or the alley, eventually it's just going to be in the streets.
Yeah, and both in the photos and going by, the gravel was outside of that area. And I agree with what you mentioned about the foundation being affected. I don't see that as being further.
Yeah, I just, since you guys looked at it, I don't want to hear what you have to say.
I do think aesthetically, the gravel does look more akin to complementing structure. The kind of like the old concrete pad and the gravel kind of makes it look not like a uniform area, but whether
There's other parts to it. I mean, I kind of agree with that. I also agree that, if you start, I guess, letting one person do that, then the next guy's whose driveway is all cracked up and doesn't want to spend $2,000 to replace it, he's just going to throw some gravel in his driveway, and then the next guy. So I mean, that's my opinion. But
Yeah. Well, I had a gravel driveway and I paid it because I know what gravel's like.
yeah,
It was everywhere.
yeah. So
Okay. I think I'm ready.
is there a way to keep the gravel in bounds more? Not really.
not really.
I think from what you're saying and what I see, it's not so huge. I think it wouldn't be too exorbitant. I mean, it would be expensive, obviously, but it would be doable.
So there's
And
also-
asphalt isn't that even less than, I mean, that's one of the allowable things, and then
Yeah, asphalt's acceptable pavement, but the problem with asphalt up here is just trying to get the company, when he's got the same company's got 2 or 3, because come up and do one driveway, kind of usually puts it up above the concrete cost.
it does. I didn't know that.
And the part about it previously being used for this purpose, but not as a business is basically why we're here.
It was fenced in though, right? As a resident. Taking the fence down and the gravel.
Yeah, well, there's a difference between urban parking somewhere too and customers going in and out.
All the time.
Yeah, I think probably the pavings.
Would I still be allowed to weigh in on some things, or is my time out?
We're pretty much done. We're fixing to vote. Is that all right?
Correct, sir, Mr. Chair. Correct.
So
So you want somebody to make a motion?
I guess I'll need to make the motion. So I'm gonna make the motion to disapprove the variance. I don't have any resolution number, so I'm just gonna put, should I just put, I propose to disapprove the proposed parking expansion at 1047 Minor Street?
Yes, sir. That's a specific enough motion. Yes, sir.
So
Second.
can we need to do a roll call? Yes. Can I get a roll call then?
Doug Smith,
No,
Wait,
on the variance.
how do we vote? We want to vote
yes,
on
on
what you just
your
said.
disapproval.
Oh, yes, on the disapproval, sorry.
Ann Zimmerman,
Yes.
John Hatch,
Yes.
You did better on the Zoom.
I know. I had my little sheet all ready to go.
Motion passes.
Okay. Is there any other business tonight?
I have no other business at this time.
Okay, I move to adjourn this meeting at 6:02 PM.
You need a second?
I don't think so.
you don't really need a
Yeah.
motion to adjourn.
Not on that. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry for the procedural lack of clarity here. We'll do a better job, maybe leading you with a path next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.